Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Enlightened podcast, number 9, perhaps. I don't think it's our 10th episode. I could, but yeah, 9 or 10 or something. Welcome, thank you so much. If you're a sub to us and you just got a notification that brought you here, you're amazing. We'll have something for you a little bit later in the show. And if you're just now joining us for the first time, welcome. Go see our other videos and stuff. Like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. My name is Tim. And I'm joined, as always, by fellow Team Galaxy Brain member, Jacob, the Mr. Williker, Rhinar smashing PQ guy, Willard. Super long middle name. It's kind of confusing for everybody, but how are you doing, Jacob?
I'm doing all good. I'm doing okay. I'm kind of riding a high right now. How are you doing?
Yeah, I also dropped some acid earlier, but you might be talking about your PQ victory, your PQ top 8, which is still, I mean, yeah, so, like, yeah, let's just dive into that because, well, actually, hold on, I have one more exciting thing for the viewers, actually, before we dive into that. You did a PQ, I stayed at home this weekend, I had a good weekend, though, but I don't want to make an announcement before we dive into all this good stuff. We're going to be giving away, Team Galaxy Brain as a whole are going to be chipping in, and we're going to be giving away a booster box of Dynasty to several groups of people. Well, the one box, and you have several chances to enter. You can follow us on Twitter. I'll put up a post about this, and all you got to do is like and retweet for a chance to win. All that standard Twitter stuff. If you're already subscribed on YouTube, so if you are hearing about this now, as of 2 o'clock on 1/16/23, and you were subbed or follow us on Twitter or both, then you'll get an extra entry into the contest. So thank you so much. That's just our extra special to those who have already been here. When we hit 200 subscribers, which I think we're at like 150 or something right now, when we hit 200, we'll trigger the giveaway and select one person at random. So you get, just to recap, you get one entry for retweeting the Twitter post, one entry for being subbed to us on YouTube, and an extra entry if you have been here already. We'll call that the OG entry. Yeah, Jacob, you don't get to enter because you're part of the team. But yeah, but yeah. So everybody, go check that out. We're doing it away because I love everybody. You guys have all been amazing. So. Thank you so much for all your kind words. Everybody has reached out in person or online. You guys are awesome. Okay, so, sorry. Brief aside. We're going back to you, Jacob. You went to a PQ this weekend. And before talking about your deck, because I think your deck is fucking awesome, honestly, for multiple reasons. But you went to a PQ. This was the Fable Hobby PQ, right?
Yes.
Shout out to Fable Hobby. Go check them out online. Great place to buy boxes, speaking of which. You went to Fable Hobby PQ, and you went 5-1, is that correct?
Yep, 5-1 in Swiss.
Nice. Yeah, 5-1, smashed into the top 8.
Yep.
So, what did you play? What did you bring to PQ this week?
So, it's I brought BERSERK Rhinar, a deck that a lot of people underestimated, but something that we as a team have been brewing and thinking up literally since Dynasty was announced at Worlds, and they previewed that card. I think I kind of lost my mind towards it. I just was like, this fixes the main thing that makes Brute, a problem. And it doesn't quite do that, but I think it makes an aggro version of Rhinar real viable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because I went into the day kind of just like, I don't have a ton of reps on this deck. I'm not like well practiced, and everyone's saying like play the deck that you have the most reps on. That's how you're going to get far in PQ. And I proved all of that to be nonsense.
Yeah,
if you just bring a really cool deck, sometimes it can happen for you. Yeah, I told myself if Rhinar didn't do good this week, I was just going to switch to Fi. and just play what I know for the next two Proquests we have locally. Now I think I'm just sticking to Rhinar and just kind of rushing people around.
Yeah, and so like we should probably do honestly, we should probably do. I know I've already done a Rhinar deck tech on the channel but like your deck is different enough, and it's like because I put up like the super like, and this is before Dynasty too. Like I put up kind of the super I'll say traditional Rhinar list. It's just very mid range. It's got the
I like
sideboard.
To call him responsible Rhinar.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's not so far as like a Chandler Toe Rhinar where you're just like trying to get numbers on cards and like get all the value. But it was just like, it was like you had your Blood Rush, Pulping Wild Ride package, and then you had your like Grind Your Club package, that kind of thing. But you just like tell us like just like give us like a we'll say like 3 minutes or less. Give us like a 3 minute or less overview. Like what is so Berserk, right? It's just start with what is Berserk, and then tell us how it synergizes with your deck and what deck building concessions and adjustments you had to make going into the PQ.
So the main so Berserk, to paraphrase, says whenever you discard a card with 6 power or more, banish it, reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a 6 power or more, draw it to your hand.
Mm-hmm.
So what it does is it kind of fixes a lot of Brute's problems, which is that it's card expensive to play cards, and you end up losing value because if I'm playing 3 cards, come in for 6, I'm actually playing less value than almost every other hero in the game. So Berserk kind of fits that. But really the point of the deck is, the way I thought about it going into the meta was I needed a deck that could disrupt control decks, stop them from doing exactly what they want to do, while also being able to keep up with the aggro side of the meta with your dashes, your briars, and your Phis. And the deck that I kind of came up with is just the perfect solution to both. I can keep up with the fast decks, and I can stop the slow decks from getting a nice pitch stack or disrupting how they want to block consistently. So those two things are what kind of made me pick up the deck. And I just had to figure out a way to make Rhinar faster than he has been, right? Because he's traditionally more of a mid-range deck. And so I think a couple of the choice cards that I added, one being Berserk, and the other one definitely being Tear Limb from Limb, that saw a lot of play. People don't know what to do when you're like, I pay 2 and I'm coming in for 14 now.
Yeah. So what did I'm curious about that, because like I remember when Tear Limb from Limb came out, like a lot of people were pretty. And I mean, this was like when I was like first coming into the game. Like I started around Monarch, and I kind of started like paying attention to the game at end of Crucible, and then like towards like early mid Monarch, that's when I got into it. And like people at the time felt really good, like they were really high on Tear Limb from Limb. And in theory, right, like if it goes off, it's basically a 2 for 6, but it's a blue. So like what was your major use case for that card? Like what spots was it really good?
So the entire idea around blues in the deck is that if you have 1 blue in hand, it's your pitch card. Obviously, you're going to need it for your big turns. But what happens is in a lot of decks, when you draw 2 blues, you end up with this really awkward situation. Like when Fi draws 2 blues, it's an underpowered turn unless he's using an ice hero. You just kind of lost a lot. The way that my deck's built, if you have 2 blues in your hand, no matter what the 2 blues are, they really help each other. So Tear Limb from Limb is a great example of that, because if I have a Tear Limb from Limb in hand and I have another blue, I just pitch it to that, and I basically just played a 2 for 6 go again with an Intimidate trigger. So I do the 2 for 6 Intimidate trigger, because I did have it come up once where I had to end up swinging Club afterwards, which doesn't get the buff, but I had gotten an Intimidate trigger, and so it was still kind of worth it to swing for 5 with an Intimidate with Club. It didn't feel like an awful play. It didn't feel like a great play. But then you have the really good plays where I was able to set up Tear Limb from Limb with 2 blues, discard a hand, and then playing Swing Big from Arsenal off a Tunic resource.
Yeah.
So you're coming in for 14 off of 3 cards, and that's, or I guess 4 cards technically, but 1 from Arsenal. And that's a really good hand.
Totally. And I mean, I think it's like I hadn't really considered it that much, because like the and I mean it's good with Berserk, right? Because you're discarding 6s. But like I considered that card a little bit, and then eventually put it down, because like I was looking for like I at one point, and like I mean, you had kind of talked through this with me previous season, I guess we'll call it season. With Rhinar, right? Like it's like we ended up cutting Sand Sketch down to like 2 or 0 or whatever. And like I was looking for another blue because I knew I wanted like a lot of blues, but like Sand Sketch never felt good, and it was like kind of hard for me to play out sometimes. And it's made it back into my deck, but now I'm just like, man, like if you're just looking for like a blue block 3 that like you can play out, like it seems pretty good. Some people are playing like blue God, why can't I think of the pack hunt, blue pack hunt. They're playing like blue, the one that gets dominated if you've discarded 6, like that right. Kind of stuff. And it like none of that feels really good to me. And so I might like Chandler Tail played this rounds on me, which is reasonable. But I kind of want to go back to that. So you've inspired me, and your deck clearly like, you know, performs.
Well, Turtling from Lynn doesn't block, so you definitely have to be playing.
Oh no, it doesn't. Yeah, that's fair.
It doesn't block. I mean, if it blocked, it'd be a perfect card, honestly.
I mean,
a card that
yeah,
would be ran in every Rhinar.
Yeah.
But now that we're talking about it, Sand Sketch Plan is definitely a card that underperformed for me this weekend.
Yeah.
I almost never played it, and when I did, I was doing it on a Berserk turn to just draw a new card. But I think now that we're talking about it, maybe I'll replace it with Blue Pummel.
Yeah, I mean that's where I'm at is I like the Blue Pummel personally.
Around Pummel against me, a lot of people are playing around Pummel against me, and in my head I'm like, I don't have it, so it's more fun. But now I'm like, now I wish I did have it because I just Blue Pummels people sometimes.
Yep.
On a really aggro deck, they won't really see it coming.
Yeah, and I mean it's a nice like what I like about Blue Pummel personally is like, it's a nice card. Like, it's a blue that you don't mind arsenaling. Like, that's my problem with some of the blues, especially with, like, Sand Sketch Plan. It's like, you don't really want to arsenal it in some situations, like, unless you're already ahead, in which case, like, you should be arsenaling something else anyway. So it's like, that's what's sketchy, no pun intended, about the card, right? But yeah, so we should do a separate deck tech, because I could talk
100%
dog. I could talk about Brute for so long. I could talk about Brute for hours.
I didn't think. I was gonna say I've definitely tried a bunch of heroes trying to find like what fits my style, and I still go back and forth over what I like the most. But I think Rhinar has made me like I had more fun this weekend and maybe this weekend about the ProQuest than I have at maybe any Flesh and Blood event because I was playing Rhinar and because the deck was fun.
Yeah, totally.
And it has a high rolly element that is doesn't feel bad for your opponent. Like Channel Mount Heroic and stuff can feel pretty shitty sometimes.
No, totally.
Art of War doesn't feel as bad, but like when you're high rolling as a Rhinar, sometimes your opponent gets just as excited as you are because they're just seeing a huge number stack up, and they're like, "Please just stop at some point."
Yeah. So that's the like I love that feeling too, and like I never really got to that point in Magic. Like there were a couple of like janky combo decks, like a Goblin Charbelter in Modern or whatever. But like I never really got there with like all the combo decks. But like with stuff like Berserk Rhinar and like even like Kano, like if it's like a tight Kano game and they're like playing really well, like I get excited for people who can like go off of like and get like a double Aether Wildfire or whatever.
I think that Flesh and Blood creates that feeling a bit more than Magic does or any other trading card game I've seen. Like because of the interaction between players every turn, you actually can get excited when your opponent's having a good turn. It might be stressful for you because you don't have the right answer at the time, but there's something really exhilarating about seeing this deck do something really unique. Because at no point in Fab do you really feel like you're not a part of that experience or you're not able to interact with what's going on. It always affords you that opportunity to like think of, okay, well, how does this affect me and what am I doing in response to it on a micro level and on a macro level, like thinking of like the big play of the game.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's a really good call out too. I just think that like, you know, just the interactivity of Flesh and Blood in general is just really high. And I think that's a really interesting way of looking at it. Basically, is encouraging that kind of like player bonding. I don't know, but yeah. Okay, so sorry, cutting us off on Rhinar.
Yeah,
and that was and we're going forward. So
coming soon.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll do one of those soon. Because I'm excited about it now. I'm like, ooh, should I be playing Berserk? Like, but Okay, so talk about what we did this weekend. You did a ProQuest. I did Armory last week. I went 3-0, and we got to the end of the night, and it's like there were 3-0s, and normally it's like the 2 3-0s play off or whatever, but we had an odd number, so it's kind of weird. And so we're doing like a Talishar playoff, so I'm looking forward to that. It's me against our friend Natan, who's on the channel. Go check out his Oldham video. So normally I'm pretty confident against Guardians on a Rhinar, but Natan is kind of insane and really good at that deck. So yeah, he's a beast. So good at that deck. Exactly. Yeah, so that's what I did. Less exciting, but still fun. So yeah, Rhinar is great. We love him here. So speaking of no more Rhinar though, let's talk outsiders. So like I'm not gonna go too much over the news and stuff because like that's been covered elsewhere. We're already late to the party, and it'll probably take me like 4 weeks to edit this or whatever. So outsiders, what are your reactions? I said speaking of not Rhinar because like my first reaction was to one of the new characters, which is I don't remember his name, but he's a trap based hunter. And when I saw him, I was like, "It's a brute!" And somebody was like, "Nah, man, it's like."
that was the biggest disappointment. Him not being a brute. His name's Riptide, by the way.
Yeah, Riptide the Brute. Come on,
so good, such a good name. Yeah, I'm excited for Riptide specifically, but one of my biggest disappointments already is no pirates. I was kind of hyped from the release art. Yeah. Had like piratey vibes.
Yeah.
I was kind of excited to maybe get some type of swashbuckling looking character, maybe if they're not specifically a pirate.
Yeah.
But the way that this limited experiences is looking to shake up, I'm very excited about it. Having 2 different heroes in each class makes for a more diverse way of drafting because your cards, you know what I mean? When you're drafting, I don't know, it's just going to change the experience. I came in on Uprising. That was like my first drafting experience. And I know it's, kind of an echo chamber at this point, but people say you have to pick a lane early, and a lot of people just prioritize certain heroes and force them to varying degrees of success. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Outsiders will really allow that. I think you might be able to force a class. Sure. You want to draft all the Ranger cards, whatever. That's fine, but it's like, which Ranger do you want to play? Which Ranger is this going to be better for? And I think if they can master the card split in each class, well, it could be really huge.
Yeah, and I think that to me that's going to be the crux of whether or not it succeeds or not. And like so far, I think that they've put together a pretty solid like limited experience, and not just in the like initial balance of all the heroes and the power levels, but like I feel like at least in the last 2 draftable sets, Tales of Aria and Uprising, they have the draft metas have evolved, right? So it's like Briar, Lexi Oldham, there was like some churn between the heroes, which I think is really cool. I haven't seen a lot of that in other card games that I've drafted. So I mean, primarily Magic. Like there is like evolution as people come to understand the archetypes more, but like all the archetypes are like there, and they're the archetypes, and it's like, well, what's open, right? And it's like, there's that to an extent in Uprising, but like people started to evaluate the heroes a lot differently. So,
well, and I also find interesting, like looking at just the heroes that have been announced, whether or not we have their text box or not. I don't think we have the problem that those other 2 sets, Aria and Uprising, presented, where you kind of have the clearly aggro hero, where everyone goes, "Oh, okay, cool."
Yeah,
you just all draft this hero. I guess you could look at Katsu or Benji in that way. Oh, these are the heroes that are aggro, but like Katsu actually has some complicated lines to him, especially if you're drafting a deck. You got to know which ones are your powerful drafting. So I feel like early on, we aren't going to have that same default to the aggro and just force the aggro deck, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Just because with 6 heroes, it's harder to define who exactly that is.
Yeah, right? Totally. And I mean, I think that's the most interesting thing to me is that they're reusing those heroes, and I just like the most interesting thing to me is that like they're reusing the heroes and they're going to expand upon those heroes, right? But both of those heroes are already like, well, Benji's not, but Katsu already has like multiple archetypes and multiple playstyles.
So which one do they add cards for?
Yeah, no, exactly. And so it's like, are they going to add cards so that like you're playing like a really like turtley Katsu? Are they gonna add like combo cards for Benji? Maybe. But I don't know. I'm just like I'm excited to see also the like the 2 class 4 hero splits. I think that'll be interesting, and depending on their hero abilities too. Like if like they could be completely different archetypes just with the same, that. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity to create tension between classes while clearly defining like roles of like control, aggro, mid range, whatever. So,
it'll be really interesting to see the generic pool. Honestly, like that's
that's what I'm excited for.
At the end of the day, that's always one of the biggest parts of any of these sets is like what cards is everyone going to have access to, and how is this going to change the game going forward. And with all new sets, it's just fun to see how do these affect old cards. Like our conversation earlier in the podcast, like Terra Limb from Limb was a meh card, and then Berserk came out, and I would argue that that card is actually much better now because of this new synergy. So whatever new synergies the generics bring to the set to help these other heroes kind of keep up. I do have a question though. Do you think that this set is going to keep up with the speed of the game? Because I would argue that Uprising has slowed this game down. The Ice Heroes are showed that they are in effect and definitely have a presence in the meta. Do you think that this set's going to slow the game down more, and we can kind of get back to this mid-range world where everyone's kind of a mid-range deck? The aggro decks have to really fight to try to find space. Or do you think that we get another aggro spike? Like, do we think that Katsu's going to come out of this set with just, is Katsu going to be a good deck? Is the new assassin going to be a problem,
I mean, I don't know. Like, I think a lot of people have like fairly vocally criticized kind of the speed at which the games are in Flesh and Blood. But it's also like, it's also funny because it kind of started, it kind of started with like Briar and Chain to an extent. Like the Chain meta at Monarch was like, oh man, like Chain was very good. Like I am, and even after Seeds got bit, like Chain with Seeds like of Agony, oh my god, like that was a very like, it was weird because like it was a fast aggro deck, but you could also like grind out your opponents, and then people complained about that. It like that meta happened, whatever. And then we go into the next meta, and then it went to Briar, which is like, Briar obviously, still extremely fast, and especially with like
kills and stuff,
like Ball Lightning and stuff too was like pretty insane. And then after that, I think Phi is kind of like the next like iteration of the aggro deck. That being said, I actually really love what Phi brings to the game. So like with Briar, and like Briar was like pretty like almost like unfair, and I think part of that was that the lightning aggro decks got out, and so everybody started playing the lightning aggro decks, and nobody had like worked on Oldhim until Michael Hamilton. And there was one other guy I think that might have made top 8 of like either the Calling or that Nationals that was playing Oldhim, and they were playing Tunic Oldhim, and then the two lists kind of combined as like, oh, this is how you were supposed to play Oldhim. And so like nobody had figured that out until people were like, no, we gotta get rid of this lightning hero. And so I think that meta didn't really get a fair shake before they banned stuff, although Ball Lightning was pretty egregious. And so that brings us to today, which is Phi. And I think that right now the meta is, and and they did have to do some bans, right? Like Pulse of Eisenloft, they banned some other stuff too, I think, right? It was Pulse, and then didn't they take something away from what's that?
Stubby hammers.
Oh, stubby. Yeah. So
that was huge.
Yeah. That's true. But like, so they did have to do some adjusting, but like, I expect that with any card game, and I'm glad that they take action. But like, I think that
they do it so surgically too.
Yes, I agree.
Really
I agree.
I've played other card games, man, and they'll take out whole combos. Yeah. They're like, "Oh, this combo's broken. Like, we'll just take out every card in this combo."
Yeah,
and exactly. I actually love Fuzzywood's like so like surgical and exact with the card they remove. Where everyone's like, "That card doesn't matter," and then it does matter. And ends up affecting decks.
Yeah, like the Pulse ban or something, right? It's like exactly. I was like, "Oh, whatever, that's not a big deal," and then it's like, "Oh, this actually sucks." But yeah, so like to answer your original question of like, are they going to keep with the speed of the game? Like, if it's this speed that we're at now, I hope so, because I think this is like the best meta we've had in a long time. People complain about Fi. People complain. I just saw somebody who I'll let remain unnamed complaining on Twitter about Pulse Wave, Harpoon, and Dash, and it's like that card, like it's a card that's like super powerful, but like in a way that like makes you play the game of Flesh and Blood and block or attack or whatever. And
it's hard to pull off. It's like the tweet in question definitely spoke about how it was 4 cards, and it's like, yo, if your opponent as Dash is able to somehow play a 4-card 4 boost against you, they successfully did that. They get the spoils of that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, they engaged and they found a way to get to the 4th boost link, and was Pulse Wave. That's impressive to me. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, but all this to say that like, I think Fi, and like I've been I play decks that like frequently get stomped by Fi. Like I like Rhinar is like that's like one of his bad matchups, right? And it's like there's only so much you can do to adjust for it, and like, but I like that Fi exists because Fi keeps all the other nonsense decks honest, right? Like if the meta gets too, you know, slow, mid-rangey, everybody starts complaining about Oldhim and Icelander and like all these like grindier decks, although Icelander's more of like a tempo deck or whatever. But like I think that it's in a really good place because like you can go to a PQ with Berserk Rhinar and do that, or you can go to a PQ with like somebody top 8'd on Azalea. I've seen some Oldhims and Icelanders top 8. I've seen Fi's top 8. I've seen Dash's top 8. Like lots of people are top 8ing that with like a crazy amount of hero. Dorinthia won a ProQuest, like, and it's like all of these, like, there's so many reasonable choices. Like our friend Archer brought Kano to the ProQuest yesterday, and he didn't do as well as you. Like he didn't make top 8. I think he went like X2 or something, but he's still like, I was like, that's if you have experience with that deck and you feel comfortable with it, that's a reasonable choice. And like that's so crazy that like all these decks are viable. And if the speed is Fi and other decks like this, then I'm happy with it personally.
Yeah, I feel like as long as
oh, you froze, or maybe I froze. Oh wait, are you there?
Yeah. I'm
okay.
Here.
Okay, cool. So sorry. As long as what?
As long as the decks are on opposite ends of the spectrum, like as long as we have our Dash and our Fi, but we still have like our Ice Lexi and our Icelander and our Oldhim, these kind of, I mean, it's arguable which deck is more disruptive. I would say that Icelander and Ice Lexi are a bit more disruptive than Oldhim is. Ice React's really the thing you have to mainly worry about as an aggro player. But that being said, as long as both of the ends of the spectrum exist, I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah.
And we are seeing that the mid-range decks are popping in and doing the things that they want to do or catching people off guard. I think we have a lot of new players coming into the game, and they don't understand how Dory works. They will be just eaten alive. And, and as long as that is a thing in this game, Dory players will always have the ability to take one over on somebody.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, even like
I love that.
Man, yeah. Dory too, like I like that you can like you get two edges, like people who don't know like how to like play around a prize and stuff and like all of her cards, and then you also just have like if you're just like really good at the deck and at like bluffing and stuff, you also get that edge. Like I think that's such a cool like
mind games of it all.
Yeah, just like the Punisher mechanics of the whole thing.
But I feel like with Azalea coming back, we get more control. It's gonna be. I feel like she'll be more of a controlling, disruptive hero.
Yeah.
It depends. I think that that's kind of where she shines. I know that there's the. I essentially think it's just Azalea playing Bravo, where you come in for non-dominate with some awful on hit. I think that she has more tricks in her bag, and hopefully we see that out of Outsiders. I think I'm really excited for that. And then whatever the new ninja archetype is.
Yeah, I hope to see two things mostly. Like, well, so first of all, I know I wanted him to be a brute, but like, and it would have fit with like the pits theme, but whatever. I want to see. I would love the trap based hunter sounds really cool. Like it's just like thematically it sounds really cool. So I'm excited for that. He also looks like gross and badass in a cool way. And then
he might be my new main based on visuals alone.
Yeah,
like that.
Well, we were talking about that on the last pod. I think is like we're looking for that hero that like speaks to us and is also a fun play style. So yeah,
I'm still out there looking.
So James White, if you're listening, please design another Prism. I don't care if she's good or not. Just and also a cracked illusionist weapon. That's important. I'm so the other thing is trap ranger, trap based brute. No, trap based ranger, and then the new ninja archetypes. Like I do really like ninja. I just like have never like spent a ton of time like playing ninja lately. But I do love Katsu, and I do like Fi. I just haven't like brought him to a tournament yet. And then I'm also curious to see the new assassin cards and how they expand on the already established theme, and to see what the new assassin, the non-Arachne character, brings to the table.
I believe her name is Azuri.
Yeah, exactly. And then the only thing I am worried because I don't know if this is a hot take or if this is something people have already discussed, but like I think Azalea, if she gets too good, is probably going to be a problem. Like she just has so many on-hit effects, and so like if you can like go wide in some way with like a bunch of like Red in the Ledgers and what's the other Red in the Ledgers and like Seek and Destroys and like stuff like that. Yeah, there's a lot of like really disruptive effects. Then that has the potential to be awful. I don't think they will, so I'm curious to see how they move forward with that without like totally breaking her and pushing her over the edge.
We also don't know how that works for Azalea in face of the ice problem, because that doesn't go away.
100%.
You're trying to go wide, ice is still always an issue.
But
yeah, I mean, as far as the new assassin cards, like we have no idea what Azuri does at all. I do know that in all of her little promo photos we've seen, she's actually wearing Black Tech Whispers boots. So I think just thematically those boots should probably work a little bit more synergistically with her. Because Arachne doesn't really. I mean, I've played a couple Arachnes now. They've never on go again more than once. It doesn't happen that often. So if she has a way to more better utilize or gain silver, it could be really fun. It could be really interesting.
I think there's a lot of cool design space in the assassin realm. Again, I hope they don't give it too many too many ways to like go wide, or too ways that are like too evasive. Like I think that like the tool set they started with is cool and good, and I hope that they push that a little bit farther, as opposed to adding like completely unblockable or something. I don't know.
Tinfoil hat section. I think that they're going to continue to push assassin into the realm of attack reactions. Just because I think we have warrior who does attack reactions on their weapon, and that's kind of like the field they play in. We don't really have a hero or class that's attack reactions on attacks, and I think that kind of fits in with what assassin is, right? Like they're sneaky, they're supposed to be able to get thing over on you. Ninjas do that a little bit, and their card pool represents it. They have a little bit of attack reactions and a little bit of good.
But they're less exciting, and there's less on hits, right? So there's like Razor Reflex, which everybody has access to, and then there's like Ancestral Empowerment, which is kind of cool and stuff like that. But yeah, I agree.
Small stuff.
I think like,
but if the assassin can really take that as their design space, I think it'll be really it could be really cool.
No, totally. Just like attacks with good on hits with like threatening attack reactions, I think that's great. And yeah, I love the design space, so I agree with you there. Okay, cool. So yeah, we're excited for Outsiders. I keep like the last 3 sets have just all blended together for me, not because of like design or flavor or anything, just because I'm dumb. But Outsiders is gonna be super cool. So we're looking forward to that. One last thing to go over. We don't want to spend too much time on this, I guess, but it is spicy, so I couldn't not include it in the notes here. So kind of snuck in with the press release packet before the official announcement was the what's that?
I said they were so sneaky with this.
Yeah, well, so exactly. So in the press like package or like media content, whatever that was attached at the bottom of the Outsiders article, and it was like an Outsider overview, like a lot of this many cards, and here's the flavor, and here's a little bit of background, blah blah blah. There was like a PDF with a bunch of pages, and one of them was Pro Tour Baltimore, April 27th or something. I need to go back and look at the dates because that's actually important. And I think it's kind of crazy to me because, and we talked about this a little bit before the show, but like the first thing that people said, instead of like, yeah, Pro Tour,
ooh, finally announced,
we know, it was like, ugh, Baltimore?
Ooh.
And to sum it up for those of you who are confused as to why people are not happy with Baltimore, it's because either A, they're not a fan of hit musical Hairspray, which is in Baltimore.
They have no idea who John Waters is.
Yeah, or they've never had pit beef, or
they don't enjoy crab.
Yeah. What is there not to enjoy about Baltimore? But really, like, a lot of the discourse that's been going around, or at least one side of it, is that people are really sketched out because they're like, oh, Baltimore is like a really dangerous city. Like, I don't feel comfortable going there. Which is not true based on statistics and research. But I digress. Jacob, what do you think about Pro Tour Baltimore?
Pro Tour Baltimore, it is not the most exciting city they could have picked, but like neither was San Jose.
Or New Jersey for that matter, except for the fact that it's next to New York.
Yeah, people act like, they chose San Jose and not San Francisco. Yeah. These kinds of decisions are probably purposeful. They're probably motivated by money.
Mm-hmm.
But like LSS is not trying to purposely put people in danger. And I think that narrative that they were lazy or that they didn't choose well enough is really just, I don't know. I don't agree with that rhetoric. And the idea that this city is more dangerous than any other major city. Granted, me and you live in a major city.
Yeah, that's fair.
Our perspective is a bit different in what we can tolerate. I will give certain people that, but a lot of the response I've seen on Twitter is pretty off-putting. Honestly, yeah. I've never said something about the Fab community like that, but the response to this being in Baltimore was just crazy to me. It's like, dude, this is a major city. Like, someone posted that there's like a Bruce Springsteen concert the same weekend or whatever. It's like, do you think all the people going to the Bruce Springsteen concert are like, I'm not going to go see Bruce because it's dangerous in Baltimore?
So what day is it on? Because like, what if we both went to the PT and we like O2 drop or O3 drop? Can we drop and get door tickets to Bruce Springsteen? Which would be awesome. Man.
That would be fun.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I think it's like, and somebody who's kind of like, I don't know if she's a newer content creator, but she just recently came onto my radar with a podcast she does. Her name's Bryn. She posted this really great response where she had just like a screenshot of like the most dangerous cities in the US. And she's like, Baltimore doesn't even crack the top 20. And it's like, I don't know, any big city you go to, if you act like an idiot and do dumb things and don't be safe, you're gonna like, you can get yourself, you even like, it's not even guaranteed, like you're gonna have a higher potential to get into trouble. And like, I do, like you just said, like I live in a major city, there are some sketchy parts of it, whatever. I also like I lived in Seattle for a long time, and not Seattle proper, but like just south of that in this place called White Center, which is like a very dangerous area. And so, but I also like I never felt like I was gonna die in White Center. Like, and it's notorious as one of the most sketchy cities. And so I have kind of like I have a different perspective on it, but I can imagine where, somebody who lives in kind of like a safer suburban area or like a smaller community in the Midwest, I can understand where like, I mean, it's kind of like if somebody was like, "Hey, we're gonna have it in like Detroit or whatever," I'd be like, that's. But like even then, like I think Detroit's inhabited by hipsters now. I don't know. But I think big cities everywhere are dangerous. I think traveling is dangerous, just like by nature. And I don't think there's anything to be worried about. Like yes, like be safe, like get a fanny pack or something. I don't know what you do to keep your wallet safe nowadays. I just but
well, all these people, I just feel like all these people making this complaint would go to New York City in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
and like one of the things I saw was like, I don't want to take my kids here. It's like, cool, so you don't want to take your kids to New York or Chicago or LA. It's like all those places are big city. I did see a hot take that I kind of agree with, and it's like, I feel like a lot of this idea about how awful Baltimore is to choose my words wisely. It's racially motivated. Baltimore has an image as a predominantly African American or Black city.
Yep.
And a lot of people are kind of off put by that. It's like, dude, there's a lot of major cities in the country that are
100%.
Very diverse and have tons of different people. And I am personally, I can't speak for anybody else, but I am personally not scared to travel to any major city for any reason. And, God forbid you ever want to leave the country. I just don't know what these people, I just don't know what they think.
Yeah.
I just don't know what they think Baltimore is. I'm sure it's going to be filled with, crab and, fishermen and I don't know, Edgar Allan Poe shit. As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah. Ravens and shit. Yeah. No, like that's exactly. It's like I feel like I'm glad you brought that up, because like I do feel like part of this is like, and like I don't want to go too deep into this because I don't want this to be a whole thing, but like all I'd ask of people, if you're listening to this podcast, thank you. I would ask that, like, if you are worried about going to Baltimore or you've heard it's a sketchy city, just examine why you think that and do some research. And also, like, if you're sketched out about it, like, because of whatever reason, just make sure you're thinking about it in the right way and for the right reasons.
And if me and Tim go, we'll hold your hand the whole way.
We'll get pit beef. I will get pit beef with you and crap.
Let us know, and we'll keep you safe. I think you'll be fine.
No, 100%. And like, this is kind of a spur of the moment offer, but like, slide into our DMs, like shoot us a message, and we can at the very least walk you through it, or whatever. Yeah. Like I said, I'll in between rounds, pit beef and crab. And maybe Bruce Springsteen if I scrap out. Who knows?
Oh, down.
Okay. Yeah.
So down.
Oh man, yeah, that sounds great. Also, I won't go into specifics, but Jacob, I heard you have a bunch of free airline miles right now for various reasons. So, kind of jelly right now. If you want to buy my ticket,
some travel money for the year. So.
Sick. Well, I think that about wraps up our show, and I gotta go to a work meeting, so we should probably wrap this up. But thank you guys for tuning in again. We're back from a holiday break. Expect a lot more. I mean, at least expect us to try to give you a lot more content this year. We piloted a lot of ideas end of last year, and the response from folks has been really awesome. We're a smaller channel, but I'd like to think that we put out stuff that we're passionate about and that we enjoy. We put effort into it when we do. So thank you so much. Mandatory. Go click the like button, because algorithms and stuff. Leave a comment, also good for algorithms. And also I try to either, I will reach out and respond to your comments if you have a question or just want to say hi, or like if it's like on one of Natan's videos or whatever, going over Oldham or whatever, I try to make sure that everybody is aware of when comments are on their videos so that they can go in and say something. So please leave a comment, we'll be sure to get back to you. And yeah, subscribe, like, follow us on Twitter as well. Enlightened _ Mike. twitter.com/enlightened_Mike. Jacob, where can people follow you on Twitter?
Twitter, I am at G Williker, JEEWILIKER. It's a goofy name that I've just stuck to over the years.
Would you be comfortable with and I'll edit this out if you say no. Would you be comfortable with people sliding into your DMs on Discord to ask you about Rhinar and Berserk and stuff?
Yeah. So on Discord, I am Hermitry. If you have any questions about Rhinar or Berserk or how safe Baltimore is, I am 100% down to answer all of those questions and get that all figured out.
Yeah. And man, every time we have to end the show, I'm like, shoot, I could just like talk to you for hours, but here we go. I gotta end it here. Gotta go be a responsible adult. So we'll be back probably next week, honestly.
We'll see you guys next week.
Hell yeah.
And unban Plunder Run.
Don't do that. Well, I love Plunder Run. It's legal in Blitz still, right? Is it legal in Blitz?
And it's fine in Blitz. Yeah. Why is it not fine?
Nobody even plays it in Blitz. Nobody in the fastest format in the game. No one plays it.
All right, you guys have a good one.
Yeah, see ya.